Hey guys, this is Pratima from Gadget Byte and today's video is about the Realme 8 Pro. I know I'm a bit late to this party, but I prefer using a phone for at least 2 weeks or more before bringing out a review so that I can share my long-term experiences with you guys. If you guys appreciate that, do give this video a thumbs up, and while you're in there, a subscription would be great too. Okay, let's start now. Over the years, Realme has come up with some really good devices, starting with my personal favorite, the Realme X and the X2 Pro, the Realme 6 and 7 series, as well as the recent Realme X7 series. But when looking at the company's more recent launches, the original charm seems to be fading out. One of the main reasons for this is how Realme has cared so little about bringing significant upgrades from one generation to another. Take the Realme 8 Pro for example. Besides the higher megapixel primary camera, the phone is pretty similar to last year's Realme 7 Pro. And with the launch of the latest Redmi Note 10 Pro series, which we all know carries better specifications than the Realme 8 Pro, this phone does not look that appealing, to say at the least. Thankfully, Realme has priced the Realme 8 Pro a little lower than the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. Otherwise, this phone would have been a complete whitewash. Now, starting the review with its design, in terms of looks, the Realme 8 Pro is not very appealing to look at. I like the new camera module layout, but the big Dare to Leap logo is just too much. And as I have been saying repeatedly, Realme really needs to work on the color options for their offerings. Here, except for the Infinite Blue variant, other choices are kind of boring. Well, one might argue about the Illuminating Yellow option, although I'm not a big fan of that variant either. Okay, looks aside, the back as well as the frames of the Realme 8 Pro are entirely made of plastic. It's a matte back and has this sandstone textured finish which feels really unconventional. But if you ask me, it does not feel as premium as, say, phones with a glass back. In terms of hands-on feel, the slight texture coupled with the curved side does add to the grip, which makes the Realme 8 Pro a very comfortable device to hold. Comparing it side by side with the Note 10 Pro Max, Realme 8 Pro is definitely the more ergonomic device. While Redmi chooses its devices to be bulkier and wider, Realme's offerings have always been compact, snuggly and light on the hands, which is something I really appreciate. On the contrary, Xiaomi went up a level by offering IP53 rating on the Redmi Note 10 series, whereas Realme hasn't added any sort of precaution against dust and water. More disappointingly, there is no rubber gasket or anything as such on the SIM tray either, meaning that you will have to be extra careful with this phone. Same goes with the display. While you get a 120Hz AMOLED screen with the Redmi Note 10 Pro and the Pro Max, Realme has chosen to go with the standard 60Hz refresh rate and a 180Hz touch sampling rate on the 8 Pro, just like its predecessor. So I am slightly disappointed that the company did not include a higher refresh rate here, which is one of the biggest cons of this device, and one of the reasons why lots and lots of people are ranting about this phone in the comment section of Realme's posts. In its defense, Realme has included a good quality AMOLED screen in here. It is similar to the one on the Realme X7, and you will notice an improvement this time in terms of touch response and brightness compared to its predecessor, the Realme 7 Pro. This panel is also very color accurate and has Wide 1L1 certification too. You also can turn on DC dimming feature that will help reduce stress to your eyes at low brightness levels. However, it is not SGS or TUV Rainland certified. Maybe the next generation of Realme phones will have that, since the company has recently collaborated with TUV in developing the TUV Rainland smartphone high reliability certification. Also, one thing that I've always liked about Realme phones with AMOLED displays is that they offer an in-display fingerprint sensor. While the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max makes do with a side-mounted mechanism, the under-display implementation certainly adds to a premium experience on the 8 Pro. Plus, it is really fast and gets the reading correctly most of the times, except for when your hands are wet, sweaty or greasy. As of now, you don't get different always-on display styles to choose from like with the Note 10 Pro Max, but I hope it will arrive via an update soon. Just like the display, the chipset on the Realme 8 Pro is the same Snapdragon 720G as with its two earlier iterations. I think the reason behind using the same chipset is the whole global chipset shortage ordeal and 5G chipset being considerably expensive. Comparing its performance with the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max, both phones do quite a similar job. Heavy games and apps load almost at the same time, and RAM management was also quite similar. Gaming on the Realme 8 Pro is a good enough experience too. You can achieve a stable 38 to 40 FPS in PUBG Mobile when pushing it to its optimum settings, that is balanced graphics and ultra frame rates. With demanding games like Genshin Impact, you can get a respectable 25 to 30 FPS at lowest graphics and 30 frame rate settings, which I think is not that bad. Other relatively less demanding games like Call of Duty can go up to 60 FPS at max frame rates and high graphic settings. And while playing such games for a long time, I noticed that the phone heats up slightly beside the camera module. It is nothing alarming though. However, if you want the best performance per dollar, the new Poco X3 Pro with a Snapdragon 860 chipset is a much better value. Okay, moving on, the Realme 8 Pro runs on the latest Android 11 platform with Realme UI version 2.1. But when it comes to security and firmware updates, Realme does not have a very good track record, which I can only hope to see improve in the coming days. Anyway, what I am happy about is that Realme has constantly been improving its Android skin. I like how you can change the look and feel of the system from the font to text size to practically everything so conveniently. And unlike the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max, I find Realme's implementation of dark mode to be better too. You can also choose between 3 levels of dark mode ranging from grey to pitch black. Okay, let's talk about the cameras now. While the display and performance aspects of the Realme 8 Pro remain the same, the company has tweaked a few things in the camera department. This time we get the 108 megapixel Samsung HM2 sensor coupled with the same 8 megapixel ultra wide and a 2 megapixel depth and macro lenses. The 2 megapixel Nona binned images from the main sensor have plenty of detail with a good vibrant color tone. The colors are mostly on the warmer side, and because of this, in many instances the camera is not able to handle reds properly. I compared its cameras with the Note 10 Pro Max and found out that it had a relatively cooler color tone. Other than that, the detail levels between them are really close. As you can see, both phones do their share of oversaturation in the images. Thus, none of them represent accurate colors. In most scenarios, Realme's images look more pleasing though. The ultra-wide-angle images are almost similar from both the phones. They have a slightly poor dynamic range and subdued details. So apart from the slight color difference, the ultra-wide-angle images look almost similar. Now moving to the portraits, well actually I prefer none of them. The Note 10 Pro Max darkens the subjects unnecessarily, while Realme goes for this unnatural red/pink color tone on the subject skin. But if I absolutely had to choose one, I would prefer portraits from the Realme 8 Pro. Also, Realme has brought some fun portrait options like neon, dynamic bokeh, etc., with which you can add a bit of a flair to your shots. There's also something called AI Portrait Video option that lets you add some cool visual effects to your portrait videos. Okay, nighttime images are almost the same between the two phones. Here, Realme oversaturates both the normal and night mode images a little too much, which might look striking. The Note 10 Pro Max, on the other hand, reproduces toned-down colors. Also, Realme 8 Pro has a tad bit more contrast, because of which the sky looks pitch black, especially in night mode images, and hence makes the pictures lose some details. Having said that, the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max does not have night mode for ultra-wide-angle images, which gives the Realme 8 Pro an edge in this department. With the 108 megapixel sensor, Realme claims that it uses a superior algorithm to enhance clarity while taking zoomed images. In my test, as you can see, it has resulted in better 3x zoom images compared to the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. As for the selfies, the Note 10 Pro Max has a slight green tint, while the Realme 8 Pro prefers a pink/red tint instead. Apart from that, the images are almost similar in details and subject focus. And the portrait selfies share the same fate too. Just like the selfies, the video capabilities from both these phones are quite similar too. You can capture up to 4K 30 FPS videos from its rare 108 megapixel lens. Sadly, both of them lack good stabilization, and the only difference you will notice is the Note 10 Pro Max tends to saturate certain aspects more, while the Realme 8 Pro's footages are slightly heavy in contrast. The stabilization on these phones improves while you lower the resolution to 1080p 30 fps. The point of difference again being the slightly bumped saturation on the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. But Realme does deserve credit for producing really stabilized footage in 1080p 60 fps resolution too, while Redmi's 1080p 60 fps videos are quite shaky. Hey guys, about the selfie videos, well, you can only shoot them at 1080p 30 fps just like the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. Thankfully, you don't have that awful red tint going on over here, which is a good thing. The microphone, well, it sounds a little too sharp for my liking, but it's not bad. I would say it's average, so you can make do with it for your regular Instagram videos, although it's not the most ideal for vlogging. What do you think about the selfie videos? Do let me know in the comments. I also compared the Realme 8 Pro's cameras with that of the Realme 7 Pro and found both doing a similar job in terms of details. The color optimization is better on the Realme 8 Pro though. So overall, I like the Realme 8 Pro's images better. Apart from that, detail levels are quite identical. Alright, getting to the battery, the Realme 8 Pro has a modest 4500 mAh cell just like its predecessor. It lasted me for an entire day on normal to moderate usage, which is basically the same level of endurance as the Realme 7 Pro. Surprisingly, there's a downgrade in the charging speed on the Realme 8 Pro as the phone only accepts a maximum of 50 watt power via the 65 watt fast charger included inside the box. Plus, there's a downgrade in other aspects like the speakers too. While its predecessor had a stereo speaker setup, the Realme 8 Pro skims on that. Comparing it with the Realme 7 Pro, I found the Realme 7 Pro's audio to be slightly louder with better instrument separation. The Realme 8 Pro's audio is not that bad. It is sufficiently loud and has decent bass, but then again, a stereo speaker setup would have sounded even more fuller.
Took me away from all of my fears. Kept me away from all of my tears. Now you're gone.
Okay, now it's time for my final judgment. And you know just how competitive the mid-range segment these days is. There's a healthy competition among different brands where each and every one of them tries to bring out standout features to differentiate their product. For instance, the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max has a 120Hz AMOLED screen which no one is offering in its price range. Similarly, Samsung's Galaxy M62 comes with a big 7000 mAh battery and a relatively better performing Exynos 9825 chipset. Moreover, the new Moto G60 appeals to those who favor a clean, near-stock Android experience. However, with the Realme 8 Pro, nothing seems special anymore. It is quite similar to last year's Realme 7 Pro and the recently launched Realme X7. And this is the reason why lots of people were pissed off soon after the announcement of this phone. Don't get me wrong though, it's still a very good device. It performs well in almost every aspect, but for a young and energetic company like Realme that has achieved so much and has broken so many records, you kind of expect them to wow their audience with their new releases. But unfortunately, with the Realme 8 Pro, I think Realme has failed to deliver on that excitement. So that was all for our full and detailed review of the Realme 8 Pro. What do you think about the device? Do let me know in the comments below. Till then, I'm Pratima and thank you so very much for watching.